Okay, number 85. Find the sum of the given arithmetic series, or arithmetic, however you want to say it. So I need to plug in k, the bottom k. Well, these variables don't line up. That should be a k. So 10 times 5 plus 23. This gives us the first term of what we're adding up. So 50 plus 23 is 73. So that's going to be our A1. Our AN is going to be plugging in 20. 10 times 20 plus 23, which is 200 plus 23. And then from 5 to 20, N is 20 minus 5 plus 1. That's the number of terms. So 15 plus 1, 16 terms. So it's 16 over 2, N over 2, times A1, 73, plus AN, 223. So 8 times 296 is 2368. So that's the sum of the 16 terms. Number 86 and 87 are differences of cubes. That is your a cubed minus b cubed equals a minus b. A squared plus ab plus b squared. If it was a cubed plus b cubed, be a plus b, a squared minus ab plus b squared. So in number 86, your a is y and your b is 4. So y minus 4 times y squared plus y times 4, 4y, plus b squared, which is 16. For 87, your a is 3x and your b is 1. So we get 3x minus 1, it's minus again. 3x squared is 9x squared plus 3x times 1 plus 1 squared. So plus 3x plus 1. It cannot be factored any further, so you're done at that point. Number 88. This one is simplify. Before we did some equals, the solving equation. So this one we need to get a common denominator. My denominator here is n plus 3, n minus 3. So my LCD is going to be n plus 3 and n minus 3. This one's missing the n minus 3. So I'll multiply by n minus 3 on the top and the bottom. So we get 6n over n plus 3 and minus 3 minus 3n minus 9 over n plus 3 and minus 3. And we're subtracting, so that's 3n plus 9. The subtraction makes that a plus over n plus 3 and minus 3. Factor out a 3, and we get 3 times n plus 3. And the n plus 3 divides out. So we have 3 over n minus 3. So the biggest problem on this one is remembering that that negative sign distributes and makes this a plus. Number 89. F of x is the absolute value of 3x plus 8 minus 7. Write the equation as a reflection in the x-axis that multiplies the whole thing by a negative. So it should be negative, and this should become plus. So you're looking at C. Okay, don't forget that the reflection in the x-axis distributes to the k term. F of x, absolute value of x, a translation 4 units to the right. So that's f of x minus 4. So that's the absolute value of x minus 4. Followed by a reflection in the x-axis, that's negative f of x. So that makes it negative absolute value of x minus 4, which is A. Same thing, now we're looking at x squareds. Vertical stretch by a factor of 2, that's 2f of x. So that's 2x squared. And a reflection in the x-axis, that's negative f of x, so that's negative 2x squared. Followed by a translation 1 unit right, that's f of x minus 1. So negative 2 times x minus 1 squared. So that is going to give you a, and identifying the vertex, that would be 1, 0, so that is correct. Number 92, horizontal shrink by a factor of 1/3, so that's f of 3x. Remember that the horizontal flips. So it's 1/3, or it's 3x when I want to shrink by 1/3. So this is 6 times 3x squared minus 5. And a translation 2 units down, so that's f of x minus 2. So subtract the 2 there. 6 times 3x squared minus 7. And that is A. Find the minimum or maximum value of the function. Describe the domain and range of the function where the function is increasing and decreasing. So the minimum or maximum, negative b over 2a, is the x value, and then you plug that in to find the y value. So negative 4 over 2 times negative 1 gives me 2. When I plug that in, I get negative 2 squared plus 4 times 2 minus 2. So negative 4 plus 8 minus 2, 4 minus 2 is 2. So my maximum, because it opens down, so the negative means it opens down, which makes it a maximum. And then, so the maximum value is 2. The only answer there is D. And then the increasing and decreasing is because it opens upside down, it's going up when it's x is less than 2, and it's going down, so it's decreasing when x is greater than 2. And the domain is all real numbers, and it's y is less than or equal to 2 because it opens down, and that's all the stuff that is in that answer D. Solve the equation, 94. If I look closely, I can see that I can actually factor that. So I can write this as x plus 5 squared equals negative 5. Then I can take the square root of both sides, and I get x plus 5 equals plus or minus I square root 5, and subtract my 5, negative 5 plus or minus I square root 5. And notice that the answer without the I is there, so you got to pay really close attention. Number 95, graph the polynomials. We didn't do too many of these, but this end behavior tells us that it's negative and it's odd. So negative, odd is up and down. So that can eliminate C and B. And now I want to just plug in a number and see if I get something close. This point, this 1 is positive, and this 1 is negative. So that should give us enough information. Negative 1 to the 5th plus 1 squared minus 1 is negative 1 plus 1 minus 1. That's negative 1. So it looks like D should be the correct answer, because if I plug in 1, I get negative 1. And on A, when I plug in 1, there's a positive. And pretty similar for 96. Again, it's negative and odd, so it's going to start like that. So I can eliminate A, and I can eliminate B. And my y-intercept should be at positive 2, so that makes D the correct answer. So you don't have to plug in numbers to find the answers on some of these. Use synthetic division to evaluate. So this is negative, I'm going to plug in my 5, negative 5, 26, and 0, because I don't have a constant. And so negative 5, and I get negative 25, and we get 1, and we get 5 and 5. So my answer is 5B. And you could also get that just by plugging that in. Factor completely, this is a sum of cubes. We said that's A plus B, so it should be n plus 10. So you can eliminate B, and then it's A squared minus AB plus B squared. So it should be plus minus plus. C is not correct because it doesn't have the AB term in there. And D is plus plus plus, and this is plus minus plus, so A is your correct answer there. Your A is N, and your B is 10. And then number 99, factor by grouping. So I'm going to group these. 9R, I'm going to factor out R squared, and we get R minus 7. I'm going to factor out a negative 4, and then I also get R minus 7. So I want to make that negative 4R plus 28, and I factor out the negative 4. Now I get R minus 7 times 9R squared minus 4. And notice that answer is there, but that answer is not correct because it says factor completely. This is a difference of squares, so I need to write that as 3R minus 2 and 3R plus 2. So don't get fooled. When it says completely, you have to make sure you factor it all the way. And so that leaves the answer D. All right, we're on number 100. I can't believe I've done a video with over 100 problems. Factor by grouping again. It's b cubed minus 10b squared. I'm going to group that. I'm going to pull the negative inside, 25b plus 250. I'm going to factor out the b squared times b minus 10. And I'm going to factor out a negative 25. And I get b minus 10. So I have b squared minus 25 times b minus 10. And again, this is part of the factor completely part. This is b plus 5. We need to recognize those. B minus 5 times b minus 10. So that makes the answer D. Find the real solutions of the equation. Round your answer to 2 decimal places. I'm going to take the cube root to solve this. X plus 8 equals the cube root of 525. Now my answers are all in decimals, so I'm just going to take the cube root of that. 3 x root, that's above your caret button. 525, so I get x plus 8 is approximately 8.067. Subtract 8. X is approximately 0.067. Rounded to the hundreds to 2 decimal places is 0.07. Write the expression in simplest form. Assume all variables are positive. That means no absolute value. So I don't have to worry about that. The 6th root of 64 is 2. And now remember, I just divide 25 by 6, so that's r to the 4th, but 1 r stays inside because it doesn't go in evenly, right? 25 divided by 6 is 4 with remainder 1. 18 divided by 6 is 3, so s cubed goes outside. 6 goes into 17 twice with 5 left over, so that's t squared and t to the 5th on the inside. So that leaves me with the letter C. Okay, these numbers should not be the same as what they were when they were inside. So that's definitely not the right answer.